Powell melting faces as the Fed buys XRP. No, that's not real at all. But we are going to talk about what the Fed said today about rates, about things being not so good for a while. Also going to talk XRP price on the reactionary news from Brad Garlinghouse and the SEC case being dropped. Macros got you covered. Inflation news, yes. Jerome Powell, yes. $40,000 buyback for XRP? Hell no.
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
What's up, dudes and chicks, and I hope you're having a great day. Wanna know why the thumbnail was cringy and why the intro was so juicy? Well, you could thank the last 5 minutes of the live stream as you voted that I make a cringy thumb and intro and title. There you have it. You, the viewer, matter most. Do I have viewer comments for today? No, actually, it goes out to the entire chat. Live stream, by the way, linked at the end. Check it out. It was a blast. Bitcoin's sitting at 85,731. ETH is 2039. We're going to talk Jerome Powell, the Fed, and XRP. Brad Garlinghouse tells us about the SEC, and price does what? Lowercase p. Pretty freaking good, wasn't it? 250 right now is the price of XP. Sold at 133, and ADA is 73.3. I told you. I said, hey, 99% chance that the Fed is gonna pause. They're gonna hold on rates. We're not gonna see a big juicy green on the screen, and that's what frickin' happened. So maybe you should follow CME target rate probabilities that are linked down below because I share them with you. Now let's keep going. The reason why Jerome paused is because we only had one good CPI report preceded by 4 bad ones. Yeah. That's not good. 1 good, 4 bad, shitty ratio. Jerome Powell was on the mic. He lacked enthusiasm today. I have a suspiciously odd feeling that Jerome Powell is probably going to be done with the Fed soon. He did not seem interested at all today. He talked about tariffs causing inflation. Tariffs haven't even fucking hit prices yet, you tard card. The hell are you talking about? So he was definitely throwing the shade at the Trumpito. Why? Because Trumpito said not too long ago, I know more about rates than JP and the Fed. Damn, girlfriend, he dissed you live. So Jerome clapped back. And he clapped back with the idea that we're going to keep stuff where it is for longer. In fact, he said, look, 2 rate cuts probably this year. But the majority of the Fed voters are saying that, you know what, between this year and next year, maybe we'll get 3, maybe 4. That sucks ass. 4 cuts in 2 years of a quarter? When the whole Rona started, Jerome Powell was late to the party, and homeboy had to drop us 3 times with the 75, 75, 75. And now you're like, oh, by the way, add that up, that's 225. Now you just want to give us 100 over a span of 2 years? Blow me where the pampas is. So this meeting was special. And for those of you that joined in the live stream, you know why? Because you saw the whole summary of economic projections. We went over unemployment estimations, PCE inflation, GDP expectations. Basically, shit's gonna stay expensive for longer, rates are gonna stay high for higher, and retail's gonna get bent over even more than they have already. You think your food's expensive now? JP is basically saying it's gonna stay expensive and get more expensive. But guess what? JP and the Fed also says that you're making a lot of money at your job, and that wages are really high, and since wages are high and people are making more money, they can afford expensive stuff. JP, where you at my whole life? By the way, seriously, the press conference, he lacked energy. That's why I'm bringing the energy right now. And I'm bringing the energy right now because this is all for you. Because that live stream was really, really cool. Chat was really, really awesome with it. There was a lot of support in the channel, a lot of amazing comments. Views were insane. I'm riding the emotional high from it. It was seriously, big shout out from me to y'all. All right, Brad comes out telling us, guess what, girlfriend? We're done with the SEC case. This is the first time that I can remember that Brad Garlinghouse, and now mind you, you know they built this. Like, they took time to build this. And when he was filming this segment right here, I'm throwing that right here. That's not morning sunshine coming in. That's overhead sunshine coming in those windows behind him. Yeah, that's bright sunlight. So that means homeboy really did this ahead of time. And this is like the first time that I can remember that he's announced something before it's been official. When Torres did her thing where XP is not a security, Brad was like, yo, I think this is cool, but he waited for her to say it. You see what I'm saying? So Brad makes the announcement, XRP Pumperonis. Now, look what I have up on the screen. I've got two jumblies. One jumbly is bigger than the other. One's a D cup and one's a B cup. Which one is the D cup? The one where Trump mentioned XRP strategic reserves. Which one is a B cup? This one right here, the announcement that the case is over. So you're telling me the announcement of the case finally freaking being over gets us half of where we were on the move here? Come on. Come on, that's pathetic. Pathetic AF. Market manipulation, or are people just bored? I know a lot of us expected the case to be over, but once the case is over, then players can get in. Then we could start looking at those juicy ETFs more. Then we can start looking at what, everyone? We could start looking at more players gobbling up XRP because they didn't want to play in a yard that had a case going on. And this is what we get. $250 for the price? Like, this not cool. That's not a nothing burger. That's a kick in the sack while they take your, like, Five Guys burger away from you. And you got a shake. And you got the big mega bag of fries. They took all that from you and then kicked you in the nuts. So it's not a nothing burger. It's a Five Guys burger that they get to eat right in front of you. So think about this. We saw with the strategic reserve, we lost those gains. I sure as hell hope we don't see the same with this. But here's the problem. The problem is, Jerome Powell is in charge of the Fed, not the United States government. So if Jerome and Trumpito want to have a little game of whose is bigger than whose, Trump cannot tell Jerome what to do. So Jerome can leave rates as high as he wants. And he can teach Trump a lesson on rates because he's the one that controls it. But JP's body language showed us that he simply doesn't care much anymore. And in fact, he's been a pretty shitty Fed head. He was late to the party. That's why he had to drop 375s on us in a row. He's been late to the cuts. And he honestly hasn't done a good job. He has not been effective. Money printer go burr. Money printer cause inflation. That's a big problem. So that's what we got with XRP. Are we above 250 right now? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Happy, awesome. But this is it. This is it. And this is what the candlesticks look right here. 259 is where we went on this action, and that's it. That's all the steam we had. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. And it seemed like the good news announcement from Brad was wasted on a day with the Fed. But luckily for us, Brad said something, or else the screen would be red instead. I need a drink. That's electrolytes. I need like a drink. I'm a bit let down by this. I'm a little bit let down by the initial price action. No, I was not thinking double digits when the case. No, nothing like that. No melting faces, no $40,000 buyback. No, I wasn't thinking any of that. I was thinking a move that would like equal the reserve move, because that's recent history, right? You saw how the market reacted to it. It was an announcement before the announcement. Now you saw it, Brad. Announcement before the announcement. If the market pumps harder on the actual acknowledgement from the SEC, then I'm totally cool with that. That's awesome. But as of right now, I mean, we got rejected at $2.59. We were looking at $2.60 going, yo, girl, I want to get with you. And she said no. But can I have your friend's number? That's not good. That's not what we want for a Wednesday hump day. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. The Fed's going to keep rates higher for longer. That makes life more expensive for us. Inflation is going to be higher for longer. We see it. Corporate greed is still there. It's not going away. So that means stuff's going to be more expensive for us. The Fed has this illusion that everyone's getting paid more. And since everyone's getting paid more, they can just keep doing what they're doing. And that means sitting on the fence. And what happens when you sit on the fence, right? You think of the fence as like this, right? And then your butt goes on there. That hurts your butt, doesn't it? Because you got to get off the fence. Sitting on it hurts your butt, and that's what's going to happen to us. Our butts are going to get hurt. Butt hurt. So yeah, $40,000 buyback, cringy, melting faces, thumbs. You could thank the chat for that. The chat of the live stream that's up on the screen. And you know how we end videos, right? Well, if you don't, you're going to learn now. Choo-choo, bitch.